Thank you. Well, welcome, and I'm so glad all of you are here this evening. We have something really special to share with you, and so at this time, I'm going to invite the three couples that are going to be sharing with us tonight to come to the stage with me. You can applaud them as they come. So as Dwan was talking about those statistics, this is what we see at Mid-Valley Fellowship. We see the effects of sexual addiction, including pornography addiction, on marriages. And within the church, we're seeing more and more divorces, and sexual addiction is quickly climbing to the top of the reasons that people in the church are getting divorced. And so what we wanted to do tonight is kind of give we're going to have these couples share a little bit of their stories just to give you a picture of what their lives were like before they came to Mid-Valley Fellowship for support, and then what God has done since then. Hopefully you will leave feeling hopeful, maybe for something in your own life, or maybe a family or friend or people in your church that you know that are dealing with these issues. So that is our hope for tonight. So thank you guys for being here. I'm going to introduce them now. So right to my left are Dan and Mandy Jorgens, and they've been married for almost 24 years, right? And, okay, yeah. And so, Dan and Mandy both went through support programs, and Mandy also did our internship a couple years ago, and Mandy's now on staff. She does counseling, and they both lead with our programs. So thank you guys for being willing to be here. And then next we have Ryan and Natalie Rapp, and they've been married 3 years. And I just want to say that when Ryan first came for support, they were just engaged. And so this marriage might not have even happened if it weren't for Mid-Valley Fellowship. And so Ryan went through 2 different programs, Clean Heart and Mending the Soul. And he's also done our internship, and he's actually on staff as well. And Natalie is currently doing programs. So thank you guys, too, for being here. And then at the end, we have Chuck and Cindy Zeitler, and they've been married for 36 years. And so Chuck has been on our leadership team for quite a few years. He also has been through 2 of our programs, Clean Heart and Mending the Soul. And so just say thank you to them for being here too. So we're gonna hop right into some questions. So this is gonna be kind of like Q&A style, okay? So the first question, I'm gonna ask Chuck to answer this first question first. What was life like before your process at Mid-Valley Fellowship? Give us a little picture of what life was like.
Well, I started out, I was living a double life. I was struggling with pornography and sexual addiction and trying to be a Christian. And it doesn't work. I had been asked like 3 years in a row to be an elder at my church, and I said no, because I knew that I had a double life, and I didn't want to do that. So I went through Clean Heart year 1 and 2, and was asked again the second year, and I told him I would do it if I graduated first, and then I would take on the leadership. So I'm just so thankful for the program.
Yeah. Natalie, tell us a little bit for you what life was like before.
Yeah, life before MVF for me was really lonely, and I felt really lost and hopeless. I didn't have any friends or people around me that had walked through what Ryan and I were walking through. And so I had a bunch of questions, and I didn't even know where to go for answers.
Yeah, and that's really common, and it's one of the reasons why this is such an issue in the church is because there's a lot of shame and loneliness, and people don't know how to talk about these things. So it becomes more of a problem because how do they get the help if they can't talk about it, right? Dan, give us a little picture of what life was like for you.
So I had a lot of fear, a lot of shame, because, like Chuck said, I was living a double life. Afraid I would get exposed, and that led me to isolation. Mandy would open up and tell me her hurts, and I would walk through the journey with her, but I wouldn't open up myself. I wouldn't be vulnerable to her.
It's that thing, secrets make you sick, right? If you can't talk about it, then you just continue to be sick. Yeah. Okay, so I want to ask Cindy to answer this question. Looking back, how was your husband's addiction impacting you and impacting your marriage?
Well, in the early days of our marriage, I didn't realize quite the extent of the problem. I thought he just looked at pornography once in a while. And I didn't feel like it was right, but I felt like he didn't think that there was a problem with it. And then as the years went by, then, I started to see that it was more than just occasional pornography, and he did admit that he had an addiction to it, and we also realized that there was sexual addiction there as well. But even early on, I really felt devalued knowing that he looked at pornography. And there were other behaviors that were also attached to the root causes of the pornography and sexual addiction. And so those things just kept me in a state of anger. And then when those little things happened that happen in marriage that frustrate you or, just irritate you or push your buttons, those things would really push me over the top, and I would fly into a rage. And I even would break things. We had several, like, holes in walls and broken doors. One night I think I broke 3 doors that we had to replace. And so it had a huge impact. I had a lot of anger and rage.
Mandy, would you share? Yeah. How did your husband's addiction impact you and your marriage? So looking back.
Looking back. Oh, sorry. Got distracted. Looking back, I struggled with a lot of anxiety and depression, and that was the excuse for a lot of the discord in our marriage. And I didn't know what was going on with Dan, the choices Dan was making, because he was really good at not wanting anybody in the family to know, and so just really good at hiding it. So now, knowing what I know, and looking back on that, I know that was him just trying so hard to keep everything together, and kind of like, okay, well, Mandy's sick, so we're gonna deal with her issues instead of looking at mine.
Okay, here's the next question. Ryan, can you hear it? Okay. Okay. Like this? Okay. Ryan, would you give us a little information about what the disclosure was like for you when you had to disclose about sexual addiction?
Yeah, so for me, there's just so much shame in me that I would only kind of give bit by bit little pieces to Natalie, and eventually it kind of built up to one really kind of large event where I disclosed to her, and over the course of that conversation, we both pretty much reached a point where neither one of us, we were engaged at the time, and both of us were pretty much completely ready to break off the engagement at that point. And then kind of a moment happened in it that God told us not to do that, so that's why we're here. Yeah.
Good. Dan, give us a short little picture.
Of what disclosure?
Disclosure.
I did what is called a staggered disclosure, which I wouldn't recommend. I told Mandy as much as I thought she could handle without kicking me out. But I didn't tell her everything, and I wasn't honest. I told her this is it, but there was pieces I held back. And what I held back festered inside me for about a year and a half, maybe. And then the full disclosure came. And what that did was just break any trust that we had. We had, there was a crater. And so we had to start rebuilding and figure out what that is.
Yeah. Okay, Chuck, would you share with us what is something, or how did you find your way to Mid-Valley Fellowship for support?
Well, prior to being a participant, I came to 3 of these benefit dinners. I was invited by somebody. I came, I supported, and I got tired of living that double life. So I left stuff on the computer that she found. And then finally I just said, you know what? I'm going to go and enroll. And I did. And it's been the best thing that happened.
Yeah. Mandy, what about you? How did you find your way to Mid-Valley Fellowship?
I found my way to Mid-Valley Fellowship when we went to our pastors to let them know what was going on, and they heard about you guys, and so they said they have good women counselor, Angela, and so to look into that to get support for the spousal side of it.
Yeah. So our pastors in the community are a great source of referrals. So we love to build those relationships with pastors because it is really important. Okay, so Dan, tell us something significant that you learned during your process of healing here.
Something real significant was just the grace of God. I had grew up hearing about the grace of God and God's love, but it wasn't until I experienced it, and it was actually from you at the first retreat, was one of the breaking points in my heart, because you were Mandy's counselor, and you knew all the ways I had mistreated her. But you took the time to pray for me. You didn't treat me any different than anyone else, and I didn't understand how you could do that. But I was experiencing God's love through you.
Okay. Thanks for making me cry. Chuck, share with us something significant that you learned in your process.
I came here because I thought my problem was pornography and sexual addiction. Those are symptoms. My problem was the abuse from my past, from my neighbor, and from my parents. My dad tried to break us up and just told her how worthless I was. And so dealing with that has helped me move forward, because I've dealt with all those issues now, and I've forgiven the people that hurt me.
A lot of people come thinking, I'm going to deal with my addiction finally, and what God gives them is so much more. Then they get to uncover these deeper roots that they didn't even know were there. And so it's quite a process of healing that people receive over 2 years and sometimes 3 years, where God starts to uncover these deeper places that their addictive behavior came out of. So we love that. We love seeing God set people free and do a deeper work on issues that they didn't even know they needed. Natalie, would you tell us something that you would like other wives to know?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just that there's hope, and that there are people around you, maybe in your own life, but especially at Mid-Valley, that will love you and support you and pray for you and your marriage. And that there are people that will walk through that journey with you, and you're not alone.
Cindy, what about you? What would you want other wives to know?
First of all, I would like to let them know that through this process, they really need to just lean into God like they never have before. Get with Him in the Word every day and pray every day, and find your value in being a child of God. You will never find value in any person, especially not your husband. And so lean into God. And then also just know that you cannot fix your husband. You cannot love him enough for him to heal. That needs to come from God. And also, as was already said, you're not alone. So don't suffer in silence. Whether you reach out to Mid-Valley or reach out to a respected woman in your church or your neighborhood, reach out to someone. And it shouldn't be someone who's just going to join your pity party or listen to you verbally bash your husband, but someone who will really walk alongside you through your healing and pray for you, pray for your husband, and you be sure to pray for your husband too, because what he needs is heart transformation that can only come from the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So Ryan, would you tell us a little bit about what is different about your life now?
For me, I think there's kind of the big area where I'm seeing a lot of differences. When I came into MVF, there's just so much shame and so much feelings of worthlessness, feeling that between my sexual addiction and being sexually abused by my father and brother, that I just wasn't worthy of leadership, wasn't worthy of relationship with Natalie, wasn't worthy of anything. But over the course of my journey with Mid-Valley, that has been kind of flipped on its head to where now I'm on staff at Mid-Valley. And even as I've been kind of reminiscing about that, I literally sit next to my first small group leader at Mid-Valley every single day at work. And I'm literally on stage with one small group leader from my second year and one small group leader from my third year. And so instead of being in this place of shame, being in a place of, oh, I can be a leader alongside these men that I looked up to.
Dan, how's life different for you now?
Now, well, see, I thought when I first came to Mid-Valley that I would just get my pornography issue dealt with, and then that chapter would be closed, and we'd never have to talk about it. But again, but now it's, God took what was evil, meant for evil, He turned it to good. He used it for good. He's redeemed our marriage. He's given us a ministry. He's given us a passion for helping other couples. And so life is a lot different than it was. I'm still in a group meeting with guys every week and sharing my stuff. So my journey's not over. I still, need to be vulnerable every week and open up. But that's just an ongoing part of my life now.
That's good. Mandy, tell us what's different about you and about your marriage.
Everything is different. Well, we're still married. It wasn't looking so good there for a while. In fact, we celebrate 24 years next week, and so that's and 8 years ago, it didn't look like that was going to happen, and so that's really a God thing. My anxiety and depression that I've struggled with because of Mid-Valley, first I came here because of what he did, but I learned so much about myself. He did so much healing through my own sexual brokenness and sex abuse. And so, yes, I still struggle with anxiety and depression, but there's so much less. I have support group that will help me through it, and God, I can rely on Him for strength. And I'm on staff, and I get to counsel women and walk through women through this incredibly hard journey.
How about you, Natalie? What is different about you or your marriage?
For me, I think I found a lot of empowerment and just the ability to deal with things a lot better in my own life relationally by the skills that I've learned at Mid-Valley or a lot of the things that Ryan has brought home and shared with me through the programs that he's gone through. Ways of processing really difficult emotions and just how to be in emotionally healthy relationships. And then what's different in our marriage is, I mean, like Angela said, we probably would not be together. And so we're together, but I've also found a lot of joy in our marriage and partnership that even, being engaged, I didn't know that was going to happen. And so those are things that I've really enjoyed. And then I've also seen Ryan grow in his leadership, not only through Mid-Valley, but just leadership in our family and leadership in our home.
So none of these couples would say that they have arrived, that things are perfect, right? And we know that God doesn't waste things. He wastes nothing. And so what he has done in each of these couples is amazing. And I just want to thank you all for being willing and having the courage to share that with everybody tonight. And obviously we thank God for the work that he's done in each of your lives, right? Yeah. So thank you guys so much.